Most steam engines were built to work, loud and dirty and proud of it. Yet a rare few broke that mold and looked like speed itself carved in steel. They carried long lines, daring curves, and a presence that hinted at motion, even while resting on the rails. These locomotives pursued beauty through power and precision rather than charm or nostalgia. This video counts down 10 vintage steam machines that push design as hard as performance, turning boilers and wheels into rolling art and proving that muscle and elegance can share the same track. Number 10, SNCF 241P, France. France approached steam locomotive design with a different mindset than most countries. Power mattered, but appearance carried equal weight, and the 241P became the clearest expression of that philosophy. Instead of heavy slabs of metal and exposed machinery, every surface appeared deliberate and refined. The boiler followed a smooth line without awkward bulges, while handrails sat flush against the body like trim on a luxury automobile. Rivets were aligned so carefully they blended into the surface rather than breaking it apart. Up close, the locomotive felt sculpted rather than assembled, as if each piece had been shaped with patience instead of urgency. The wheels completed the illusion. Tall, thin-spoked drivers painted in soft green with gold accents replaced the usual industrial black. When the locomotive moved through a station, those wheels turned with the precision of fine clockwork. Inside, the beauty continued in ways most passengers never noticed. French engineers packed the 241P with advanced mechanical systems, including roller bearings, refined valve gear, and a 482 wheel arrangement that delivered strength without sacrificing balance. Even while climbing mountain routes toward Lyon or Geneva, the locomotive appeared calm and effortless, gliding across the landscape with quiet confidence. Number 9, Flying Scotsman, United Kingdom. The Flying Scotsman earned its reputation through performance, but appearance played an equally important role in its legend. The smooth boiler, tall driving wheels, and deep green paint created a presence that stood apart from everything else on British rails. That color seemed permanently polished, catching light, whether the locomotive was accelerating across open countryside or easing into a station platform. In 1934, it became the first locomotive officially recorded, reaching 100 miles per hour, yet speed alone never defined its appeal. The proportions felt balanced and dignified, with a long nose and clean lines that suggested confidence rather than aggression. The whistle carried a tone that lingered in memory, and crowds gathered not because they had to, but because they wanted to see it pass. Postcards, posters, and photographs spread its image across the world. Decades later, whenever the Flying Scotsman appears on tour, people still line tracks and platforms for a glimpse. Few machines manage to pull heavy trains while carrying the presence of a celebrity, yet this one continues to do exactly that. Number 8, New York Central, J3 Hudson, United States. Some locomotives impressed through detail, while others succeeded through balance, and the New York Central J3 Hudson belonged firmly in the second group. Every element felt measured and intentional, from wheel size to overall length, creating a silhouette that appeared mathematically precise. That sense of order became even stronger once industrial designer Henry Dreyfuss introduced streamlining to the class. Stainless steel panels wrapped the locomotive in polished curves, transforming it into a silver bullet racing across steel rails. This was Art Deco in motion. Chrome trim accented the body, and even the lettering carried the elegance of a luxury ocean liner. The Hudson moved fast, but more importantly, it looked fast without effort. Passengers associated it with glamour, reliability, and modernity, qualities rarely combined so cleanly in a single machine. It became a symbol of progress during an era when rail travel defined prestige. Number 7, Pennsylvania Railroad, K4 Pacific, United States. American railroads prioritized strength and reliability, yet the Pennsylvania Railroad K4 managed to blend muscle with elegance. While many locomotives of its era appeared as dark, utilitarian workhorses, the K4 arrived with brass trim, smooth curves, and a long, clean frame that stretched confidently along the rails. Even at rest, the locomotive suggested motion, as if it were waiting for the signal to surge forward. It hauled express passenger trains across dense cities and quiet towns throughout the Northeast, becoming a familiar sight that people still paused to admire. Platforms filled with onlookers who waited for its arrival, not because it shattered records, but because it looked right. Photographs captured it from every angle, earning it recognition as the most photographed steam locomotive in American history. Distance never diminished its appeal, and close inspection only deepened the admiration. Number 6. LNERA for Mallard, United Kingdom. Speed shaped the identity of the A4 class, and the Mallard became its ultimate expression. Every curve hinted at motion, from the pointed nose to the swept-back casing that guided air smoothly along the body. On July 3, 1938, that design delivered history when Mallard reached 203 kilometers per hour, or 126 miles per hour, setting a steam speed record that still stands. The achievement mattered, yet the visual impact mattered just as much. Deep blue paint covered the streamlined body, while skirting concealed the wheels, and golden trim added restraint rather than excess. Nothing appeared accidental. Even standing still, the locomotive looked prepared to surge forward. Mallard demonstrated that beauty and speed could reinforce each other, creating a machine remembered as much for its shape as its numbers. Number 5. Southern Pacific GS4 Daylight, United States. The GS4 never tried to fade into the background. It arrived wearing bold colors that demanded attention, with bright orange, deep red, black, and white stripes stretching cleanly along the boiler and tender. Passenger cars followed the same palette, turning the entire train into a unified statement. When the Daylight rounded a curve, it resembled a moving mural rather than a conventional locomotive. Despite its size, the GS4 avoided the bulky appearance common to steam engines. Streamlined casing concealed pipes and machinery, presenting a smooth front that felt almost playful in its confidence. One GS4 survives today, and whenever it runs during special events, people travel across states to see it in motion. That level of devotion speaks to the lasting power of its design and presence. Number 4. Milwaukee Road, F7, Hudson Hiawatha, United States. The Hiawatha challenged expectations by abandoning traditional steam locomotive shapes entirely. Its nose tapered sharply, headlights sat recessed within the shell, and every curve flowed seamlessly into the next. Pipes, bolts, and exposed mechanisms vanished beneath the smooth metal casing. Even the handrails were integrated into the body, preserving a single, uninterrupted line from front coupler to tender. The experience extended beyond the locomotive itself. The beavertail observation car at the rear featured a curved, boat-like design with wraparound windows, allowing passengers to watch the landscape recede behind them. Interiors favored polished wood, soft lighting, and wide seating that felt closer to a lounge than industrial transport. Regular speeds exceeded 100 miles per hour, achieved quietly and smoothly. Even motionless, the Hiawatha appeared poised to depart. Before the final entries, one detail stands out. Among all these machines, only one was shaped by a designer whose work continues to appear in everyday life through familiar logos and products. That locomotive looked so advanced that passengers questioned whether it even ran on steam. Number 3. South African Class, 25NC, South Africa. Across the vast and unforgiving landscapes of South Africa, the Class 25NC earned admiration through raw presence. A tall boiler, massive smoke deflectors, bright red wheels, and an enormous coal tender gave it the stance of a steel stallion. Sunlight reflected sharply off its surfaces, amplifying its scale against open plains and distant mountains. These locomotives faced extreme heat, thin air, dust storms, and long distances without hesitation. Passenger trains followed them across terrain that tested both machines and crews. Their beauty emerged from capability rather than refinement. Strength radiated from every component, creating a locomotive that appeared capable of pulling the horizon itself across the rails. Number 2, BR01.10 Streamliner, Germany. The BR01.10 defied traditional expectations by hiding nearly everything that defined steam locomotives of its era. Smooth metal panels covered pipes, wheels, and rods, forming a long silver body that resembled a capsule rather than a mechanical device. A rounded nose led into a tapered rear, while curved skirts shielded the driving wheels from view. Movement brought a different sound than expected. Instead of sharp exhaust and clanking rods, the locomotive produced a steady, controlled rumble. Beneath the casing sat a high-pressure boiler and large driving wheels that benefited from reduced air resistance. Trains ran smoother behind it, and stations fell silent as people watched without flinching from noise or steam. Even today, restored examples attract immediate attention, confirming that its futuristic appearance still resonates. Number 1, Pennsylvania Railroad, T1 Duplex, United States. The T1 appeared as if it belonged to another era entirely. A pointed nose, smooth metal panels, and polished trim replaced the exposed machinery typical of steam locomotives. Industrial designer Raymond Loewy, known for Coca-Cola machines and the Shell logo, shaped the locomotive with elegance and speed in mind. Hidden wheels and clean skirts completed a form that looked carved rather than constructed. Passengers reacted with curiosity rather than technical questions, unsure whether the machine relied on steam or something entirely new. Only a small number were built, and most were later scrapped, yet the design never faded from memory. Today, engineers and volunteers are constructing a brand new T1 from original plans, driven by admiration rather than profit or records. A machine from the 1940s is returning because its beauty continues to matter. These 10 locomotives proved that steam engines did more than transport passengers. They captured imagination, expressed ambition, and turned raw power into moving art. Some emphasized speed, others strength, and others pure design, yet each left a lasting impression. Want more stories that bring history to life? Subscribing is your ticket. If you enjoyed this, a like helps us know what to explore. Next, see you soon.